Um, okay, I think we can start. Yeah, I'm having all the signals. I'm opening the chat. And now I'm ready to start our webinar. Hello. Oh, sorry. Sorry for that. Yeah, that now everything is fine. Today we're going to talk about model conversions, just like a small intro here. I think not everybody is with us right now, but we're waiting for a couple of minutes. While we're waiting, just trying always to find some kind of a new intro through the webinars. So my name is Ilya. I don't know, like I need to say some few words about myself, but it's hard to do all the time. So now we will start with some very, very simple question right now. That worries me a lot, but like it won't be about analytics. Could you please write in your chat your current location, city location? Just interesting. It's just interesting where you're from, where you came from. While you're writing in our chat, you also can write your name. It will be helpful. While you're writing, I'm just like will announce that I'm now in very, very great city. I relocated to Tbilisi, and it is in Georgia. Very like great city, great people, warm people who are willing to help all the time. That's with any cases. And like my relocation went really well. I really recommend and by the way, the weather is really great. It's October, but it's still like 26, 28 degrees by Celsius. And if you're thinking of like where to go, where to travel, somewhere in summer, somewhere in October, and September, October, that's like very, very great recommendation from my side. Also, the food is great here. So, oh, thanks. There are some answers: Sweden, Greece, Ukraine, Moscow, Spain, Baku, Cyprus. Great to see all of you here. I'll start. Back to our business. About our team. In Allvox, we believe that every decision maker has to deal with the data freely. And we contribute in this mission by providing quality data and explainable metrics to our clients. And today, we're going to talk about model conversions. That's a kind of new metric. No, not a lot of people are using it these days, but I'll try to explain like this metric. And by the way, if you weren't on our previous webinar about cookieless tracking, it was about a month ago. My colleague Vlad was a speaker on this webinar. If you weren't on this webinar, please like save 45 to 1 hour of your time to go dive into this topic because it's very important. This is like a previous topic to what I'm going to say today. Anyway, today our agenda is my speech will be our webinar will be in 3 parts. First, we're going to talk about the conversion tracking problems. Still have to figure out what the problems are. Still have to start with this with this problems. Second, I would like to explain what is model conversion, what are model conversions are, like how to use them, what do they give to marketers. And the third part will be about if you're like, for some of you who wants to create model conversions by themselves, I will explain the steps how to make it. and then I'll answer all your questions. So let's start with our nightmares about conversion tracking, which like we face now these days in 2022. Almost there are a lot of nightmares, but like this one is huge for analytics and for marketing analytics as well. And by the way, who is the biggest persona who are most interested in the conversion metrics? Of course, it is marketers, because most of their KPIs are about conversions, and they use the conversion for the KPIs. So what marketers are usually dream about? Oh, if you're a good marketer, they dream about like good results of their work, like powerful campaigns with superb results, and that depends on in most cases depends on their professionalism, of course, on some different factors, but the professionalism of marketer is very important here. Also, marketer can dream about admiration, bonuses based on this great work that they are providing to their company, to helping their company to grow. And that mostly depends on like some people around the boss who influence on the bonuses, on admiration, and so on. And the third part, which is not mentioned a lot, but in some talks with marketers, we see that this is one of the most important things they're dreaming about. This is some kind of a protection. I mean, they're dreaming about some kind of a source of truth that will help them to prove their results or answer why they're doing their job great. Not only the great campaigns, but answering why they're doing their job great is very important. And in that case, they need transparency data, explainable metrics, and that depends on the data quality in marketing reports or in their data warehouses. Maybe that report might answer those questions. We're not going to go into this report, but it is a demo dashboard which you can like go through by this link whenever you receive our presentation after this webinar. But like I will not go into this report, but I've taken some of the metrics which are important to explain our case, our conversion case. For example, like our marketer goes to this report and they have his own source of truth. They can believe in the values in this metrics or not, but they have this source of truth. And like, for example, also they want to understand the efficiency of one ad platform, not all the parties of campaigns, metrics, and so on. They're interested only in one source of truth about Facebook ad platform performance. And for example, at the same time, in this source of truth, they receive a value which totally they are okay with. For example, it's Friday evening and they are about to go to their holidays. So that answer, they're really okay with that answer. But what if we can say that there could be another answer, a bad one. So that return on ad spend, or there are other KPIs like cost per order, they doesn't fit into this KPI that they expected. And what if marketers see this kind of metric, this kind of value in this metric? They'll start asking some questions to data, maybe to analysts, maybe to themselves, like why customer acquisition is getting harder, why I'm not getting my result, why I'm not getting my KPIs as my goals. Maybe because of the competitors, maybe because like the campaign has so bad results, but because of the irrelevant ads. But if they will go a bit deeper into whole results of their marketing and the whole data, all the metrics that they have in this report, they might see that there is not that much transactions or orders or other metrics that could help them to prove their results that they're doing great. So the metrics in the reports are not fit their expectations. And here we're gonna have there is two news on this at this point. First, that you will never meet both cases, both universes with a good source of truth or bad, because in most times you have only one source of truth with a set of data sources, set of reports which you're using, and you can be in left or in the right place. And the second news universe, and the second news is that now in 2022, most of the companies are in the right universe, so in the right source of truth, and it looks not that promising that that marketers they are expecting, and analysts as well. So why it's hard to keep all your conversions safe in 2022? There is a bunch of reasons. When you're thinking that you would like to have all the conversions that you acquired in your report and to prove your results, to analyze your results and do better, for example, do the task of reallocating your marketing budgets in a better way, you still have to understand that nowadays you're facing some issues, tracking issues, you're facing some tracking issues like ad blockers. That's very familiar thing. Like unconsented users, which are not willing to be consent, which are not willing to allow you to track their cookies and so on. And third-party cookie restrictions in browsers, this is also a common thing. And that leads us to that we're losing a lot of our conversions that we can trust and act on, and this looks like a disaster. Today, I'm not gonna speak about ad blockers or third-party cookie restrictions. We already had this on the previous webinars. But I would like to have your attention on the second block, on unconsented users, on this problem and the solutions that you may have according to this issue. And why we really do have to focus here, not just only because it is 30% is more than 20 or 10. No, it's because that when we're talking about ad blockers, when we're talking about restrictions from browsers, they are inventing in our lives and lives of marketer smoothly. Not all the users are installing ad blockers at the same time. Not all the users are installing a new version of browsers which have this new features for restrictions at the same time. So it comes to our data, to our graphs, trends in a smooth way. But consent, not. So if you're implementing consent on your site, for example, you didn't meet all the GDPR restrictions, you just informed user that you are using cookies, but not give him the ability to choose to be tracked or not, then you might have this kind of case. And you implemented consent, you can look on these conversions and just imagine the face of your marketing director, which asks you to give him a report, September to August, changes in the conversion and how do our company grows. So I think that's you don't want to be that like person who will give this report to marketing director, because that will be not very kind talk. So about the data, what really happens to our conversions when visitor on our website declines or not allowed to track his cookies? Actually, when it happens, like when user does not allow, it doesn't matter like if he declined or not. He need to allow you the permission to track, and then you can track him. But if he don't, if he do not push this button, then like by GDPR law, you are not able to track his activity with PII data. PII data means like user ID, client ID, all the identifiers which can help you to define the exact user on your website. And you can read in the internet what it could lead to, what it can cause, what problems could it cause to your company if you're operating, for example, in the European Union. But like nowadays, all over the world, there are some different laws that's like explains how you can track or not track your user on the website. Let's figure out what might happen if like this person declines. What person, I mean visitor, declines. He's not willing to be tracked. Declines cookie allowance. First case. This is a rare case, but sometimes it appears when your legal team in the company, no matter what, do not allow you to collect any kind of data, not only PII data, but not any kind of sheets. You cannot collect any events for these users. Just like stop collecting data. The second case, which is more popular in our experience, is when to be compliant, in this case, legal team in the company does not allow analysts and analytics products to collect PII data, but they're still allowed to collect just events, action events, without any user information in it, without client ID, without like, or with a unique client ID for each hit. It is the same. So when the user cannot be recognized as a unique user, and that leads us that, for example, one event with a traffic source cannot be like linked or cannot be merged as a customer journey with a conversion that this user will makes just a few steps later. And the third case is that when sometimes still when user agrees and close this window, agrees to be tracked, still there are some issues, for example, in Safari, where when you can track this customer journey, you can track this user ID, but due to some restrictions in browsers, when there is up to 7 days or more period of inactivity of this user, this user becomes like a new one. So he cannot be, you cannot have one customer merge this customer journey between conversion and this first traffic source which you paid for. So we're not going to stop on the first case because it's more about operational and management. We're going to stop and discuss about the second and the third case. So let's imagine our first source of truth we were speaking about before, when marketers feeling themselves in 2019, for example, when we didn't have any kind of cookie issue problems in our heads, and he looks on this kind of picture in his report divided by source medium and transactions by source medium. This is a source of truth from like our past and our future and our like current period of time. More looks like this when you don't have to actually remember those numbers, but I'll ask you to be ready to compare the amounts in these values between these two reports. So first of all, you have to mention this new traffic source called not set. Sometimes it could be direct non, depends on how you track your conversion. This is the segment of transactions with conversions which you cannot link with other events with traffic sources. They just have the events of the conversion. You don't know what the traffic source was. It could be direct non. For some cases, it could be not set if you're transforming that data yourself. And you can see that the amount of transactions decreased and the CPO of your Facebook, Google Ads, Twitter raised like in some cases twice. What are the feelings of this marketing team who will operate with this report? And by the way, just to remind you, that could happen with your data like in just a few days, because when you implement consent mode, when you implement all the compliance part, you might have your report might have changed. So what emotions does marketers have? Like, first of all, like emotions, what I which I faced, with those marketers who I work with, it's like some kind of panic attacks, or poker face, depends on the emotion, on personality and emotions of this person. First of all, of course, it's like some kind of a panic. Then it's a sudden loss of confidence to this data. Like, it doesn't matter how much data still appeared in the report, how much conversions, sudden loss to this of confidence to this report. And the next step is searching for protection from other sources of trust, sources of truth somewhere else. And this source could be like, okay, I have some conversion, I am tracking conversions in Facebook directly. Maybe I can go there, or in Google Ads. I also have their metric of conversion metrics. Great. Maybe I can export this metric to my report, and I will make my decisions, and so on and so forth. But the problem is that when you're thinking about to take conversions directly from Facebook, from Google Ads, their own conversions, their own like conversion they are these systems, these platforms are operating on, this is completely different trackers, and you cannot compare conversions from Google Ads to conversion in Facebook platforms. It's just different logic, different conversions, and can be differently calculated in those platforms. And at the same time, they do not match the total which you have in your CRM. If you will like sum all the conversion from all the platforms, they will not match to your total. Like, there will be more conversions than in your CRM actually you have. What does that mean? That first, it's not the best source of truth. It is okay for execution part, because like if you're comparing two campaigns in Facebook together, you can use that metric, of course. If you're having some kind of task for smart bidding or creating audiences in directly, specifically for Facebook or specifically for Google Ads, still it's okay. They are operating their own conversions, and like they have the same logic. But when you're trying to like operate on strategic level, for example, to reallocate your budget between channels, that will be a problem. So to sum up, we are having some kind of a problem with having all these conversions, which we expected to have, but not in the same value. We don't believe them. We don't trust this data. So can model conversions bring our peaceful sleep back? I've announced that term, and I would like to explain what model conversion actually is. Let's look on this picture. We can see here a segment which called consented clicks. This is a segment of visitors who allowed this consented cookie tracking on your website. This is their conversions, and like with some limitations, but their marketing path. By like creating maybe user profile on their IDs. All information because you have like PII data. You can track it because user allowed you to do that. And you have another segments, and please don't look on the on the numbers because it could vary between different projects. For example, in some projects we have like 50% only of consented clicks. In some projects it could be like up to 80%. Depends on the audience and on the project. But let's look on the yellow segment, unconsented clicks. And we already understand that in this segment, we collect all the hits, all the events of these users without PII data, personal data, and we cannot like merge them into one customer journey. And we see here the model conversions, which leads us to next description of this term. First of all, model conversions are conversions for unconsented segment, unconsented clicks segment. So segment without PII data. So where we cannot like actually build a marketing path, we have to model something to this traffic sources from this unconsented clicks, which is created by machine learning model trained on observed. Observed means like the data we know, blue segment, behavioral signals like device, browsers, conversions, micro conversions, region, all that doesn't contain the PII data. So we are not modeling on PII dimensions. We're modeling on dimensions that are not be recognized as PII. And attribute this model conversions to like dimensions, non-PII dimensions, like source, medium, campaign, keyword, maybe sometimes in keyword, depends on the amount of data you have. And important thing, it's only aggregated views, not user level. So if you're thinking about like some kind of a report where you have transaction ID and the user ID and you need this list, it's not about model conversions. It's about aggregated level. For example, attributed to dimensions like source, medium, campaign. A bit complicated slide, but I'll explain it. So it is a detailed view, just a simple table in Google Sheets by like 10, as an example, as 10 events which are collected by your tracker. The blue, like it's just for users, is different for colors, different for users. The blue ones are for users who allowed consent, who allowed tracking cookies. The yellow one who does not. Those who allowed, you can see here that they don't. They have like one client ID, one session ID, and like different transactions. So we can define this user and can work with this data. For the yellow ones, we can see here that there is, for each row, there is a unique client ID unique session ID. So for this transaction number 4, we cannot actually merge it with Google CPC source. So it is a user level scope, user level report, and that's an aggregated level report where we have source medium, where we have this consent transactions and transactions from unconsented user without source medium. So the task for modal conversions are to take these two transactions and to attribute them to one of the source based on the results of this modal. So actually, it could not be done as an integer, so you can the model can attribute like some part of the conversion to one source, some part of the value of this conversion to other source, based on the results of the model, based on probability and so on. And you should be ready that not all the conversions could be attributed to traffic source, so you can see like a picture like this. What it leads us to. So what changes in our report? What does it help us to do? First of all, like it doesn't go separately. Model conversions doesn't go separately. It goes with good and right cookieless tracking. Once again, I will announce the webinar, and I'll give you the link. So here we can see following changes. Total model conversions looks more adequate. So they are more close to the total of the conversions we really received, of the transactions we really received. Total modeled orders, and we have to model orders like separately from transactions as well. And of course, we can see here the more adequate data and more adequate values in a return on ad spend or CPO or ROI, depends on the KPI you're tracking. So we're focused on this absolute metrics, absolute values of the metrics of transactions and orders. And if we're talking about like specific reports, which is divided by source medium, we still have this picture in mind without any kind of modeling, which we receive by just implementing consent mode and other compliance tools. And we can compare it with like the modeled part. So it still will be one metric. Modeled will be joined with standard transactions. And like you can compare the difference here. So it really affects on the way how you evaluate the efficiency of different platforms, different campaigns. It really helps you to figure out the efficiency of specific source medium or specific campaign. And like, let's stop here. Maybe for those of you who still are in doubts about like, okay, it's one more approach to machine learning. Like we're already tired. We already tried this for analyzing campaigns. Maybe something went wrong. But just let's stop here. And for those of you who are in doubt, please let us get back to our past. For example, in 2018, 2019 year, I'm sure you remember those days, beautiful days it was. And what was your headaches about there? Okay, so you receive all the conversions, all the transactions, you can track them, you can see in the reports. And the only headache was to choose the right attribution model. And you have maybe had some kind of an experiments to compare first click, last click, maybe some kind of a machine learning model which you created with your analysts or with some products. And like your headache that year was about like to compare those models, to choose one of those who you believe the most, which you believe the most. And now let's us get back to our current situation. And we're comparing not between two models, we're comparing between making decision on 70% or sometimes on 50% of conversions to 95, 97% of conversions attributed to traffic sources. Okay, they're based on machine learning model. So basically, it's one of the only options if you are now having this problem with cookie consent. One of the most common questions is, okay, I have this model transactions, model conversions. What should I do with that? What are the use cases? Actually, it's simply the same cases as you're used to do with the conversions, like performance and brand performance reporting accuracy, cross-channel budget allocation, for some smart bidding in Google Ads, Facebook, it's also an option. Or maybe you need to create the audience based on this model conversion. Still an option. So all the things you used to do with conversions are on the same way are okay for model conversions as well. And getting to our third part, some of the projects which are using their own data source, their own data collection, or maybe using Google Analytics as well collection, but using Data Studio, Power BI, and other sources of reporting. They have their own business specific, and they decided sometimes to create their own source of truth based on, for example, BigQuery or Amazon or maybe Snowflake. How can we do this model conversions by ourselves? I'll try to explain the stages. I'll not give you the explanation about the model and so on, but I'll give you the stages here. First of all, and once again, start with a cookieless data collection. I've added once again here the link. It's named the checklist, but actually lied a bit here or tricked you a bit. This is a link to the webinar. Why I did that? Because this webinar contains this checklist to GDPR compliant cookieless tracking. But I would like you to first to get a context from this webinar. It also have the steps, but with the webinar, with an explanation, it would be easier to start and to get compliant tracking in, for example, your Google BigQuery. We are an experts in Google BigQuery, so our cases that we provide are mostly on Google BigQuery. Anyway, if you're not using Google BigQuery, the steps still, with some changes, are suitable for your business as well. There are some steps. I took only key points from this checklist, like configure Google Analytics and Web Google Tag Manager. This is the first step. There are some checkpoints, like accepting new Google DPA or disable data sharing settings in terms of to be compliant with Google Analytics. Second thing is very important to set up server-side cookieless tracking. And we have one in our product, but the most important part here is to collect data and host your cookie on the custom domain so it cannot be recognized as a third-party cookie. For example, like googleanalytics.com could be recognized by some browsers like a third-party cookie. So if you're using this domain for your cookie, it might be not okay, and you will still be facing these restrictions of the browsers. And the third thing is the third step, important point is if you're already set up your consent mode, please use value in GCS parameter. So in that case, you will recognize what really user like allow you or not allow you to track. And based on this information, you can change like delete or not track his personal PII data. That will be a signal for your tracking. That's just the three important things. Second thing is to normalize and prepare your data when you already collected it. So now you have to normalize, like prepare it in analytics ready format, like unified dates, unified currency, everything that helps you to bring all your data in a right format to work with that. Prepare all your data for reporting, like in specific transformations, which is suitable to your reports, like users, user type, sessions, attributed at costs, blended at spends, for example, all the things that really needs to create meaningful dashboards and dashboards with model conversions, with ROI and so on. And create model conversion transformations. This is a separate task. It also will appear on your in your data flow to this report. Some words about data requirements here. We can help with that. So starting from 200 conversions a month, we can help to create this kind of transformations, model conversions, I mean. And we'll also have some templates for that, but it's also we also can create transformations for your unified specific of your business. It's also okay for us. And the third part is to orchestrate your prepared data to actionable reports. On this screen, you can see the data flow from the data sources to your report, which we were talking before, in our examples. And here is the place for model conversions. And here is the data which types of data which model conversion needs. And like this is how it connects to your report. So you need to understand the whole data flow, operate the cascade of transformations in here to manage all this data flow. And of course, at the end, you will get the report. I've added it to the link. Just give me, please. You'll get some kind of a performance or brand performance report with the metrics you really, which will really be helpful to analyze in 2022 and current tracking issues. So, yeah, I see some questions. I'll try to answer them just in a minute. Just before we are stopping here, when we understand all the path of creating tracking reporting for this model conversions, we understand why it's important to do to plan it in your analytical roadmap in the next few weeks or months. And also there are some questions which are on top of that. I would like to give an answer on them now. So first question, it's like, okay, Google Analytics 4 has its own model conversions. Why not use them? The real answer is that you might have used both if you created your own and Google Analytics as well. Why to use Google Analytics? First of all, like actually if you're migrating to GA4, you're actually not being asked about that, because if you implement the enhanced conversions and like if you totally implement the full checklist of GA4, then your model conversion will appear in the matrix of conversion, like you can see here in this report. So you can define that there are being modeled, so they're not integer here. First, this ease of implementation. So you will need it for at less for smart bidding in Google Ads, audiences for Google Ads, and so on. But if you need your own source of truth and you got used to your own source of truth, and you need like full explainability, controllability of the transformations you create, all the metrics, explainability of the metrics, then it's better to manage it on your own side, because Google conversion modeling might be some kind of a black box for you. Still, like you can use them both. Also, if you need to add to your model more inputs and you need to manage this, you want to manage these inputs, also like better to create your own model conversion. Of course, last but not least thing is that for some reasons, some projects don't want to send some of the data in Google Analytics due to storage location of this data. And if you are one of this company, then you can manage your data flow. You can track all your data coming from a website or apps and send them directly to, for example, Google BigQuery location in European Union. So that data won't appear in any other locations, not for storage, not for processing. You'll just like load it, export it into your location in BigQuery. If it's important to manage this on your side, then like it's better to use like another types of tracking. But still, like Google Analytics will be a tool always to work with like Google Ads and Google Ads features. One more question here, which is very, very common. What's the difference between model conversion and attribution? Actually, I mean by attribution models, I mean the static models like first click, last click, U-shaped, maybe some algorithmic models. So attribution models are based on marketing path. In model conversions are, they are like, you need them when you have not a lot of marketing path collected, because like attribution model, when you have only 50% of conversion being consented by consented users. I mean, an attribution model will not help you even if you like create your great model with the great logic. It still will be in total show you nearly the same results as the first click, or as the last click, sorry for that. So for some reasons, attribution model may not help you if you have a lot of traffic which is unconsented, and like if you in this case. And also, but still attribution models on the strategic level, they're kind of helpful. I will not go through this whole table, but I'll try to explain like my opinion on that question. And now I'm happy for all of your questions. I'm moving to chat. Oh, it took me 50 minutes. Sorry for that. I was really thinking that it will take maximum 40. But really appreciate that a lot of you are still with us. So here is some useful links on this website, on this slide, so you can go through this. And if you're interested in the dashboard, so you have also you have this link. So now for the questions. How you compute 9% from unconsented clicks? I think you're asking about this kind of slide. Actually, we're not computing from this from unconsented clicks. So actually, it is like, in a short words, I've tried to explain it here. Try to explain it here on the next slides. And of course, the percentage, like 9 conversion, could not be 9, could be a different value. Depends on like how you do you have enough data for your model, what metrics do you have, what metrics your model, machine learning model show you. This is like another 30-40 minutes about machine learning. I've tried not to dive into this topic these days about the metrics of machine learning, I mean. But yeah, so when you create, when you're trying to calculate model conversions, it's about the events you already collected, which are being without conversion events, without PII data, and your task is to model them to all the unconsented clicks, and that's how you can receive the conversion value and the percentage, of course. Is there any related percentage to track ratio of unconsented clicks sourced by country regions? I mean, for data of actionable and model transactions. Actually, I don't have this kind of data. Maybe yes. I just don't have prepared. I just don't have prepared data for this specific webinar. Sorry for that, but I think there could be some kind of research for that. Actually, we didn't make this research on the data of our projects, but that's a great question. Thanks for that. My current thoughts not about conversion modeling, but all about reporting migration from Universal Analytics to Google Analytics 4 and GDPR. What advice can you give me in this case? Great question. First of all, Universal Analytics is not the best tool for all what I've said here. Just like because of the one reason, Universal Analytics doesn't fit all the compliance that is needed for like to all the points that you need to be compliant for GDPR. Like mostly what Google invents, what we invent, it's more the compliance is invented. All the compliance features are invented for new types of tracking. That's the first reason. Second thing, what I can say to you that we are having the next webinar specifically about this topic. It will be, as I can remember, on the 1st of November, and that will be, or all the webinar will be about migrating your reporting from GA Universal data source to GA4 data source. There are a lot of interesting points about that, because like data is different, metrics are different. Doesn't matter if they're named the same, but they're really different. And like the speaker of this webinar, I don't know who it will be. I think he will explain the whole process of how to migrate from this current metrics you have to new metrics of GA4. And of course, modeled transactions, modeled conversions should be one of these metrics in your new GA4 analytics. What if you don't have not set showing in GA as a source menu? So that's a good question. This data was transformed and modeled by on our side, not by GA. In GA, usually you will see more increasing amount of direct non-conversions. Why? Because you have two events. First event was for Google CPC here. The second event, it is not set. It is more an event without data source. So it's called more direct non. So if you want to understand this problem in Google Analytics, then you have to follow the trend for direct non share, a share of conversions by direct non-traffic source. Not set is my favorite. Oh, some of you can see the not set, yes, but not in Google Analytics. Could you share, please, real efficiency of ML modeling? It depends on the case. Depends on the case. As I've told you, when you there's 4 years ago, we had to explain the efficiency of machine learning models to people who already have their conversions in their reports and everything's fine with them. Now we have to explain ML modeling efficiency for the people who are losing their conversions. And as one of the only ways to track and to evaluate efficiency of the campaigns. So ML modeling is efficiency is individual. So it depends on the quality of the data, the quality of the model, of this, the amount of signals you collect, and it's individually. It's not like the trends or something else. It's always individually. You can understand the efficiency when you use this metrics in audiences and bidding and so on, if you want. We made a lot of that kind of experiments, but this is more than experiments. This is not about source of truth. In that case, as in nowadays case, as I've mentioned, once again, we're not facing the case when we're trying to make a new model, ML model, and so on. We're trying to save our conversions, and that's a bit different case. So actually, efficiency is about the efficiency of exact model, but necessity of this action I've tried to explain on this webinar. Is it possible to export raw data from GA not using BigQuery? Export, no. So if you mean API, no. It will always, you have to always export it with some metrics, and that means that it is not raw data, it's aggregate data. What you can do here, we have our own version of streaming for Universal from your website directly to Google BigQuery. It won't export your historical data in a raw way, but it may help you to get this data from the day as you set up this and start collecting this data from your website. If your task is about to export all of your data, not to lose them, then not to lose them when you will migrate to GA4, then it's a kind of different task. You can use API, but you have to be sure that API will not give you the raw data. It will give you just the aggregate data sets with maximum, as I can remember, 7 dimensions. So it's not that really raw. Still, it could be an option if you know your real data sets, which you want to use after Universal will be deprecated. If you want to save the Universal tracking after it will be deprecated, then you can contact us and we will explain how to do it directly from your website. So it is already 8 at my side. Somebody like it's already an hour we're spending together. I love you for that. Really appreciate your time. And if you have any cases, any questions due to model conversions, due to migrating to J4, or any other questions, please write us, and we will be happy to help with any specific case. And I think our webinar is on its finish line. So once again, I appreciate for all your attention, and we'll be happy to see you on our next webinar on 1st November. You will receive all of you will receive the invitation for this webinar in some days. Thank you very much for listening, for being with us, and bye.